Have you ever found yourself sitting across from someone in the heavy silence of a shared meal, watching the steam rise from a cup of coffee, and realized that the person in front of you has become a stranger inhabiting a familiar face? You look at them, and you remember the electricity that used to hum between you, the way their name once felt like a song on your tongue, and the future you used to build together in the quiet hours of the night. But now, that connection has faded into a dull, echoing ache. The love has long since packed its bags and left, yet here you are, still holding the keys to an empty house. You move through the rituals of your relationship, the polite questions, the habitual touches, the shared calendar, but your heart is no longer in the room. You carry a hidden, gnawing guilt, wondering if you are being noble or if you are simply a coward, trapped in a life that has stopped growing, yet unable to find the exit. You are lying in bed late at night, the room bathed in the flickering, cold light of a street lamp outside, listening to the rhythmic breathing of the person beside you. You are staring at the ceiling, feeling the vast, invisible distance that stretches across the few inches of mattress between your bodies. In this private, suffocating stillness, you realize that you aren't staying because you are happy. You are staying because the thought of the after is more terrifying than the misery of the now. You feel like a ghost haunting the ruins of your own history. The world outside celebrates the idea of forever and the strength of those who endure. But here, in the dark, you feel less like a hero and more like a prisoner. You aren't fighting for a relationship. You are guarding a cemetery of memories, terrified of what will happen when you finally stop the vigil. The world often looks at your endurance and labels it as loyalty, commitment, or a deep sense of responsibility. Society romanticizes the idea of staying through the thin, suggesting that leaving when the spark is gone is a sign of a shallow heart or a lack of character. They tell you that love is a choice, implying that if you just work harder, the warmth will return. They are wrong. This is not a failure of effort. It is a profound operation of your survival instincts. When you stay after the love is gone, it is not because you are weak. It is because your mind has identified the preservation of the familiar as a matter of life and death. Your heart is not staying for the person. It is staying for the safety of the known world. You are not a hypocrite. You are not a failure. And you are not the only one who chooses the comfort of a cold home over the terror of a lonely wilderness. You are not a person who lacks the courage to leave. You are a person whose nervous system is performing a final, desperate act of protection to keep your reality from shattering. We invite you now into the soft, velvet shadows of this sanctuary. Put down the exhausting mask of the happy partner and let the pressure to fix what is broken dissolve into the cool air. Welcome to Tea Psychology. In this space, we do not view your decision to stay as a mistake to be corrected. We see it as a sophisticated shelter. We are not here to push you toward the door. We are here to understand why your spirit felt it was safer to remain in the cold. We are here to translate the language of your hesitation and honor the resilience that has kept you standing in the ruins. Your body records the history of every time you felt the world slip through your fingers. To understand why you stay when the love is gone, we must look at the way the brain prioritizes social attachment over individual happiness. Within the ancient regions of your mind, the need for a tribe or a partner is not a luxury. It is a primal requirement for survival. Your history has shown that isolation was once the greatest threat to a human being's existence. The data of your own experience suggests that when you are part of a pair, your nervous system experiences a baseline of regulation, even if that pair is no longer fueled by joy. To the brain, a dead relationship is still a predictable environment. It is recorded as a known quantity. The amygdala, the part of you that scans for danger, perceives the act of leaving as a plunge into the void, a state of high-risk unpredictability where resources, protection, and identity are all under threat. Your brain isn't being sentimental, it is being tactical. It would rather you be lonely in a familiar room than terrified in an unknown world. By staying, your mind is trying to prevent a total collapse of your social and emotional landscape, choosing the slow decay of the heart over the sudden explosion of the world as you know it. Behind these layers of quiet endurance lies the history of a heart that learned to value stability over its own breath. To understand the scars that formed this habit of staying, we must look at the specific climate of your past where your sense of belonging was first established. For many who cannot leave, childhood was an environment where love was conditional, fragile, or synonymous with duty. You learned early on that your role was to be the one who maintains the peace, the one who holds the family together, or the person who never causes trouble. You were rewarded for your self-sacrifice and praised for your ability to swallow your own needs for the sake of the collective. It's recorded as a core survival directive. To be good is to stay, and to leave is to be a source of pain. Your body remembers the specific, cold fear of watching the pillars of your world shake. Perhaps you were a child who witnessed a parent's abandonment, or you felt the tectonic plates of your home shift through divorce, illness, or silence. You tasted the suffering of a world that can disappear overnight, and in that moment, you made an unconscious vow that you would never be the one to let go. You have experienced the disappointment of being left, and you are still going through the echoes of that abandonment even now. Staying in a loveless relationship is your way of rewriting that history. It is a desperate attempt to prove that you are different, that you are the one who remains, even when the lights go out. You are not staying for the partner. You are staying to protect the child within you from ever feeling that world-shattering instability again. The weight of this history manifests as a deep, physical paralysis at the thought of a new beginning. You aren't just contemplating a breakup, you are contemplating a betrayal of your own identity as a caretaker and a survivor. Your mind perceives the act of walking away as a failure to keep your promise, a fracture in the very foundation of who you believe you are. You carry the exhaustion of someone who has spent a lifetime holding up a roof that was never meant to be permanent. The cost of this habit is a life lived in a state of suspended animation, because you are using all your emotional currency to maintain a facade of wholeness. You have nothing left for your own joy. You move through your days with a sense of functional mourning, grieving for a connection that is already dead while still having to provide it with a home. This constant suppression of your true feelings creates a profound internal dissonance. You are living a life that is fundamentally dishonest to your soul, and that dishonesty acts like a slow-moving toxin in your spirit. Your body records the strain of every forced smile and every hollow "I love you," manifesting as a persistent, unexplained fatigue or a tightness in the chest that never quite goes away. You are staying to avoid the short-term pain of a separation, but in doing so, you are paying a long-term price of total self-erasure. You are a person who has become an expert at existing in the shadows of a relationship, forgetting what it feels like to stand in the sun of your own authentic desires. The silence tells us that you often feel like a ghost, wandering through your own kitchen, watching your life happen to someone else. You see the years passing by like scenery out of a train window, and you feel a terrifying sense of powerlessness to pull the emergency brake. This is the lingering shadow of a heart that has been taught that its own happiness is a secondary concern. You are safe within the walls of your commitment, but you are also profoundly starved, surrounded by the ghosts of a passion that once was, unable to reach for a future that hasn't been pre-approved by your fear. The journey toward the light does not begin with a sudden, violent departure. It does not require you to burn down the ruins or to cast yourself into the wilderness before you are ready. The first movement of healing is the radical act of honesty within the quiet of your own mind. It is the moment you stop trying to convince yourself that the cold is actually warmth. You do not need to leave today to begin your reclamation. You only need to stop lying to the person in the mirror. When you acknowledge that the love is gone, you stop the internal war of trying to revive a ghost. This admission is not a betrayal of your partner. It is a long overdue act of loyalty to yourself. Integration happens when we realize that staying out of fear is not the same as staying out of love. You can begin to bridge the gap by separating your sense of duty from your sense of worth. You have spent years believing that your value was tied to your ability to endure, but we are here to tell you that you are allowed to be more than a monument to a promise. Psychological liberation starts with small, private reclamations of your identity. Find the things that belong only to you, a hobby, a dream, a specific silence, and nurture them outside the context of your relationship. You are teaching your nervous system that you can exist independently of we. You are showing your brain that the world will not end if the partnership does. We invite you to view your life not as a failed commitment, but as a story that has reached the end of a long, difficult chapter. You are allowed to turn the page. This doesn't mean you must act with cruelty. It means you can begin to act with clarity. Every time you choose your own peace over a performance of happiness, you are reclaiming a part of your spirit that was lost to the shadow of duty. You are moving from being a guardian of a cemetery to being a gardener of your own future. You are not giving up. You are finally choosing to live. Your body records the moment the weight begins to lift from your chest. Self-love is the gentle permission to want more than just survival. Can you look at the person you have been, the one who stayed through the silence and the cold, and offer them a profound, tearful thank you? Thank them for their strength, for their loyalty, and for the way they tried to keep you safe. But then gently tell them that they no longer have to carry the world on their shoulders. You are allowed to seek warmth. You are allowed to be known. You are allowed to be in a place where the love is present, active, and alive. The silence tells us that you are finally ready to believe that you are worthy of a life that feels like home, not just a life that looks like one. You are a whole, profound being who has been living in a smaller version of yourself to fit into a space that no longer grows. You are like a river that has been dammed by old stones. The water is still there, vibrant and deep, waiting for the path to be cleared so it can reach the sea. You are not a failure for outgrowing a container that was once your world. You have done so well to survive the winter of this connection. Now, it is time to let your heart seek the spring. As you prepare to step back into your day, stay close to us here. Subscribing to Tea Psychology is a quiet vow to honor your own truth, even when it is uncomfortable. It is a way to remind yourself that you deserve a sanctuary where your feelings are the compass, not the enemy. We are here to walk with you through the transition, providing a space where your courage is recognized and your stillness is understood. If you know someone else who is living in an empty house of a relationship, someone who feels trapped by the forever they once promised, please share this mirror with them. So many are drowning in the guilt of their own unhappiness, never realizing that their hesitation is just a wound trying to heal. By sharing this, you are giving them the permission to stop holding up the ceiling and start looking at the sky. Leave a comment below with the word truth. Let it be the first word of your new chapter. We do not need you to have all the answers to see your strength. We only need to know that you are starting to listen to the voice within you that says, I deserve to be happy. Let this be a gathering of souls who are learning that leaving is sometimes the greatest act of love a person can perform for themselves. The room you are in is the same, but you are different now. As you look at the person across the table or the space beside you in bed, do not look with resentment. Look with the eyes of someone who is finally waking up. The path forward may be misty, but you are no longer walking it in your sleep. You are safe, you are seen, and you are finally allowed to choose a life that chooses you back. Stay gentle with your soul. We will be here for you in the next quiet space. Thank you for being part of Tea Psychology.